Hello, friends. Welcome back to Numbers and Narratives. If you're new to the channel, this will be our second episode in the series of tracking our portfolio against the S&P 500, where we visit our portfolio every week with transparency to see how it's doing against the benchmark, the S&P 500, to see if we are underperforming or overperforming the markets. For this episode, I would also like to jump in some financial headlines from the previous week, which I think has been a very, very interesting week indeed, with the CPI data, with some pharmaceutical news, and also some warnings coming from chip manufacturers such as Micron Technology and NVIDIA. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. As you can see here on my screen, my current portfolio value is $9,421.14. Remember that this is coming from a starting capital of $8,500, meaning that since inception of June 24th, 2022, the portfolio have appreciated 10.84%. Pretty good. And let's break it down. As if you don't know, my big portfolio, which means the $8,500, is broken down into two parts. The first part is the Magic Formula portfolio, which is right here. As you can see, the starting capital for this portfolio is $4,250. 8,500 divided by 2. So I split even between the two portfolios. And let's see how it's doing. So we can see quite some. The majority of them are winners over here with the green color, and so far this part of the portfolio have appreciated 12.01%, which I think is pretty amazing. It's starting the capital with 4,248, and right now it's at 4,700. So this section of portfolio is doing really well, but of course we have a long way to go. This is only the second week of tracking, and that by no means we are saying that we are, outperforming the market. Not yet. We are. We're gonna get there, hopefully. But this is a long-term process. The second part of the portfolio is the acquirers multiple portfolio, and as you probably expected, we also have the same money to start with, $4,250. And let's see how we're doing with this one on the P&L column over here. And this portfolio is also doing quite well. It has appreciated 9.72% so far, with again the $411. Of course, let's go ahead and take a look at the S&P 500. We will take our benchmark as June 24th, which is when we start our portfolio. Until now, the S&P 500 have appreciated 9.42%. 9.42%. And when you look back at here, our portfolio in total have appreciated 10.84%. So still very glad to see that we're ahead of the S&P 500, even though just by a small margin, 10.84% versus 9.42%. So around like 1.4% leading at the moment. So we're still ahead of the S&P 500. Now, again, we need to maintain this distance to go far into the future. So right now we're definitely not in the safe yet, but very glad to see that our portfolio is still doing well. I also would like to introduce to you my personal stock pick. At the moment, besides these two big portfolios, I have another account where I pick my own stocks and see how they do. And you can see over here, this account is much smaller because I just initiated it. This is actually my Roth IRA account, and I'm trying to kind of slowly put more money into it. You have the limit of $6,000 per year to put into the Roth IRA account, and that's what I'm trying to reach here. So right now there's only around as you can see over here, $893 in total position value, because I have quite some cash just waiting on the line when I see a good buying opportunity. And right now I hold 2 positions only, so this is a pretty concentrated portfolio, in contrast to what you see on the other 2 big portfolios. They consist of much more diversity and all over the place. These I only buy 2 companies that I believe are underpriced at the moment. The first one is Micron Technology, and the second one is Seritage Growth Properties. And so far, both of them are doing okay. With Seritage actually appreciating quite well with 17% gains already, and Micron is sitting at around like 5% gains. So again, I just initiated these positions around 2 weeks ago, so nothing crazy so far. I will hold on to them for a long time, or until they reach the level that I expect them to reach. When I invest in them, I kind of have a gameplay in my mind. And when they reach those gameplay level, I will happily let them go, but they are quite far from now. They're quite far from there at the moment, so I will definitely hold on to them. These are long-term positions. I don't plan to trade in and out of them often, like a day traders or swing traders or anything. All right, so very glad to see that all of our portfolios are doing quite well, and of course, we will keep track of them every single week to see how they're doing, and to see if we are catching up with the S&P 500 or we have more grounds to cover. With that said, let's go ahead and jump into some of the headlines that I've seen very interesting this past week. The first one is about Novavax. Now, this is a company that has been insanely popular the last year, Novavax. They trade under the ticker NVAX, and they are manufacturers of COVID-19 vaccine. I think that is enough for you to understand that they had an explosion in share price the previous year. Now, in fact, let us go ahead and take a look at them over here. We just simply type in and Novavax under NASDAQ. And let's see how they're doing from a year ago until now. Not too well, as you can see, but it really has a huge drop recently as well, because of what happened to their revenues. As you can see, Novavax tumbles 30% as waning COVID-19 vaccine demand is hit outlook. So what happened is that the COVID-19 business suddenly doesn't look so good anymore. The reason is Novavax is having to go toe-to-toe against the other big players. Who are the big players that are crushing Novavax at the moment? Moderna and Pfizer. Now, if you don't know, Novavax, now this company, it hasn't been really relevant until COVID-19 arrived. Before that, it wasn't really an amazing company with not a lot of profit outlook. And Moderna and Pfizer, if you dig a little bit deeper, now these two are really huge pharmaceutical firms. They've been around for quite a long time. And COVID-19 is just them branching out to get into that market. And they have done that wonderfully. They have definitely get a grasp of that COVID-19 vaccine business. And as you can see here, Novavax is having a hard time fighting against these big boys in the field. As you can see, the company now expects 2022 revenue between 2 and 2.3 billion compared to its prior forecast of 4 to 5 billion. That is a 50% down from the forecast. That is not amazing. And as a result, Novavax price shares, I think, really come crushing down. Let's just take a look at the 5 days. As you can see here, in 5 days, it come crushing down So far, been down 27% from August 9th. So just a few days ago, it's been trading around the 60s, and now it's trading around the 40s. So this is what happened when you invest in cyclical companies, right? Cyclical companies are companies that are only relevant during seasons. And COVID-19, take it with a grain of salt if you want. But I personally think that we are entering the post-COVID-19 phase of the world. 2020 and 2021 is the peak of COVID-19, where everyone has to take caution and every country closed their border. Everywhere orders COVID vaccine in high amount. It was really in high demand. But now it feels, obviously, it would be great if you stay cautious and not spread COVID-19 to the people around you. That'll be very appreciated. But I feel like the caution, the knowledge, and the acknowledgement of COVID-19 has really waned down as people stop caring. They just stop caring, really. They just want to live their life, and they say that, all right, man, this COVID-19 thing it's gotta be over. So let's just stop, let's just open our borders and let's just go to school. Let's just go to work. I think that's exactly what's been happening, and we are seeing now a post-COVID-19 period, and these cyclical companies, including Novavax, that their revenues rely entirely on COVID-19, is coming crashing down. So please be careful if you invest in the companies that are cyclicals, that are reliant on certain factors in order to be profitable. Moderna and Pfizer, it doesn't happen to them because their revenue source is way more than just COVID-19. COVID-19, as I said earlier, is just them branching out. And also, I think the big headline from this week is our inflation scores, 8.5% CPI for July. So it comes down quite a bit from the 9.1 points from last month. So it's actually pretty good compared to the expected 8.7. So it did beat expectation. But doesn't mean we are in the clear. Please remember that this is 8.5% still. This is not under 2% yet, my friend. So when you think about the goal of the Fed in the US to fight inflation, it really comes down to the magical number of 2%, right? They have been saying that they will try to keep inflation under 2%. We are far away from that. So we are still in a tight economic thing, despite all the numbers and the market telling you otherwise. I still believe that we are not in the clear yet. Doesn't mean there's more room to fall. I have no idea. I'm not here to try to predict the market. I'm here to acknowledge an economic fact that inflation is still at 8.5%. And there will be more that needs to be done to combat this level of inflation. But very glad to see that it's slowing down a little bit. And we will have to see if things will cool down further for the next CPI score of August. But as you can see here, we are now in the previous month. We are now kind of coming down from the peak over here. It's a pretty interesting way of seeing it. And since 2020, due to the relief package from the government, where they gave the people, everyone in the household that are qualified, $1,000 package, a relief, COVID-19 relief, and you can see the effect that has on the economy. It's on inflation. It really just skyrocketed. It's amazing. I mean, look at this level of inflation in such a short time. in such a short time, in a 2 years period. It's come flying down. And now hopefully it's going to come crashing down back. And we're going to have a good time in the market again. But until then, please, I've always said this, but I think I would like to repeat my point, is that there's really no possibility in anyone trying to predict the market, where it's going, because you have no idea how the macroeconomic is going to act. You cannot control it. You cannot control the macroeconomics. You cannot control how your friends in New York, in California decide to spend their money. If we're in such a tight economy right now, as we are in right now, but people still go out and buy stuff, still go out and spend their money like there's no tomorrow, then perhaps it's going to take a little bit longer to combat inflation. So we will never know when inflation will peak, or has it peaked, or is it just coming down from now on. We never ever know. And there's no point in trying to be the prophet here. No point in trying to be the crystal ball seer. Let's just stay focused and invest with good methods, pay cheap price for good companies, and that's how we know we get a bargain. All right. And last but not least, let's go ahead and jump into Micron warnings about cheap demand falling. So earlier this week, also August 9th, Micron and before that NVIDIA have given revenues warnings about the current market conditions. So not only Micron, but also the other big players in the semiconductor industry, NVIDIA, have expressed concerns about the current state of the market. So let's see what they say. Micron Technology shares were falling more than 5% in morning trading Tuesday after the memory chip producers say that they expect to be impacted by challenging market conditions. So pretty rapid reaction by the market here, as you can see, as Micron just kind of go down a cliff 5% after this revenue warning. So the company has called for 6.8 billion to 7.6 billion in revenue in its June earnings report. So that is what they guide for June, for their June report. But they're saying that they might not meet this number, or the revenue may come in at the low or the below end of the revenue guidance range. So they're saying it could be around 6.8, 6.9, but it definitely could be around 6.6, 6.7, which means they missed their revenue forecast. And also, let's go ahead and take a look at how this warning affects other semiconductor players. The announcement is weighing on semiconductor equipment companies like Lam Research Corp, Applied Materials Inc., and KLA Corp. Micron executive joined those at fellow chip company NVIDIA, who issued a revenue warning Monday. So the market is just kind of getting hammered by this news. On Monday, they say, all right, NVIDIA is issuing a warning about revenue, and in that warning, NVIDIA quoted that they are concerned about the gaming revenue. That's why they say that their revenue might not beat what they expect to. And then today, you have Micron, another big chip player, come in and reinforce the idea that, hey, my semiconductors industry, we are in for a hard time in this economic environment, and the market just immediately reacted very, very rapidly. And these two companies were down a few percent following the announcement. So what do I do about this? Well, to be honest, I don't really care, because this is just like ebbs and flows of the economies. As I said, I don't plan to time the market. I don't plan to predict when their revenue is good, when is it bad, when do I buy, when do I sell. Based on that, I buy and sell based on a target price that I set for these companies. I buy them when I think they're cheap, and I will sell them when I think they're getting expensive. Simple as that. And I personally really believe in Micron's ability to turn around and have amazing runs ahead of them. And these kind of ebbs and flows, headlines, and just kind of the cyclical of the market, I don't really care, to be honest. Of course, I read them to keep myself updated, keep myself knowledgeable in the game, to see what's going on with the company that I own, which is Micron, as you can see. But to say that I'm gonna get scared away by a little headline is it's not gonna happen. So that is all for today, my friends. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.